Okay, so today is our first day in our probability unit. Some of the common ideas and facts that we're going to need for different problems throughout the unit come from this warm-up. So we're going to pause the video here so you can write these down and answer them. And here are all the answers, so we're going to pause the video again for you to check your answers. So the definition of the probability of an event is that it's a number between 0 and 1 that indicates the likelihood the event will occur. So to start, we're going to discuss the difference between theoretical probability and experimental probability. Theoretical probability, this is a formula that you must memorize, is the number of outcomes over the total number of outcomes. So if A is the specific event that's going to happen, the number of outcomes in that event out of the total number. So for example, the probability that we roll a 3 on one roll of a dice. How many different ways can we get a 3? Just one. And how many different outcomes are there when you roll a dice? How many different sides? 6. If we want to do the probability of getting a red card when we have a deck of cards. Red is, the total deck is 52 cards, so red would be half that deck, that's 26. So now for experimental probability, you take the data from an actual experiment or survey or the history of an event that's occurred and use that to calculate the probability. So here we're going to do a few more examples. You roll a 6-sided die whose numbers are 1 through 6, so a normal dice. What is the probability you roll a 4? So we have to think, how many ways can we get a 4 is 1 out of the 6 total sides. What's the probability you roll an odd number? Well, there's still 6 total outcomes, but the outcomes of an odd number, let's see, 1, 3, and 5 are the odd numbers on a die, so that's 3 out of 6, which reduces to 1/2. What's the probability you roll a number less than 7? So what are all the numbers on a die less than 7? 1, 2, and it's really all of them, so it's going to be 6 out of 6, which is 1. So there's a 100% probability that you'll roll a number less than 7. When you work on your classwork or your homework, you can use a calculator to calculate the probability as a percent or as a decimal. Any of these 3 forms of an answer are acceptable answers. Okay, so now let's look at an experimental probability. Mrs. Weiss tosses a fair coin 50 times. The data for her tosses is below. So a fair coin is a normal coin that is evenly weighted, the head side and the tail side. So what's the experimental probability that I got a tail? So 15 tails occurred, so the probability of a tail is 15 out of 50. The theoretical probability of getting a tail, well, when you toss a coin, getting a tail is 1 possible outcome out of 2. So the theoretical probability is that this should be 50%. Is 15 out of 50 exactly a half? No. So that's why experimental probability could be different than the theoretical. So another type of probability is geometric. So what the geometric probability is that we find the ratio of lengths or areas or volumes or any other geometric property. So the ratio, that's a division. That's everything that we have done on the prior page or the prior examples. So here's our third problem. We want to find the probability that a dart thrown at the target will hit the shaded region. So we need the area of the shaded region over the total area. So take a minute and figure out what would be the total area and what would be the area of the shaded region. if you need a refresher, the area of a circle is pi r squared. Okay, so if this is 4 as a radius, this radius is 4, so the length of the side of the square is 8. So the total area of everything is 8 times 8, which is 64. The shaded area is 64 minus the area of the circle. So 4 squared, that's 16 pi. You can leave this as your exact final answer. Okay, so now in class you're going to do 12.3a and 12.3b. Please work with a partner next to you, and we're going to pause the video here, and then when you unpause it, all of the answers will be revealed. So please check your answers, make sure you're doing the classwork practice correct, and the homework answers will be posted on Edline this evening.